Well, cold winter's night. I'm sitting here by the fire, and I think it's come time to explain a few things very bluntly. Not things I wanted to do, things that I could only see and explain. If I happen to look up during the video, it's because of my large monitors. Are your mainstream media telling you the truth? Is your alternative media telling you the truth? Do you think influencers are telling you the truth? How about law enforcement? Do you think they are being transparent and telling the truth? What about MPs in the House of Commons? Truth be told, most are controlled. When I see the hypocrisy of alternative media criticizing mainstream media for being a conglomerate, when most of the alternative media and influencers in Canada are in clandestine communications group, all agreeing to a stakeholders engagement strategy, boosting each other up across platform interviews, and don't you dare go against them. If you were invited and did not agree, then look out, because this is Fight Club. You know what, people? I'm not scared of Fight Club, as I'm not afraid of governments. And you all are starting to find out why? Because I have no master pulling my strings. I am Canadian. I'm a patriotic citizen to my country, one that cannot be coerced, threatened, bribed, blackmailed, or held hostage to any of your tactics. You wanted to try to use technology and social fearing against me. Bad move. Because I have all the metadata from anyone that has come in contact with me. I am an expert of over 40 years in this field, well documented. I have trained police officers, doctors, lawyers, corporation owners, and many more. I have never been advertised for my services. People seek me out. So when I became ill as a government employee, number 123352, and they not only turned their backs on me, they have fought against me as my current employer. That's right, I'm still a government employee to this day. Unifor is my union that has done nothing to try and help. 8 years in court and twice through appeals in court, and they have lost on an application to have the case dismissed, costing the taxpayers millions. I am sick and should be having some quality of life that I paid into in case this happened. In case I have to file paperwork. Instead, I have to file paperwork daily to question our government using our citizen tools. What I have found over 10 years of this is astonishing. Some of my efforts have even set precedent in Canada, but you won't hear about them. This brings me to the amount of media that used my picture around the world, and none of them will interview me after the fact to see why they used my picture. Heck, even New York Times through Getty Images charges up to $700 for a picture they took of me. So if you think I'm scared to call for investigations before I cannot, you are sadly mistaken. So what have I been talking about since my arrest in 2022? I've been talking about accountability and following exactly what happened, as if I was an investigator for the police, looking at everything in the totality to get a clear picture. I've done many requests using our access to information and privacy to the RCMP, to the city of Ottawa, to the DOJ, many places. And this is why I was targeted as well. Because right now, there's a final report out that proves the DOJ breaking the law. And that report is because of my complaints to the Office of the Information Commissioner. So, what am I talking about today? I'm talking about this. I'm talking about who is funding some of the massive deceptions and narratives in my country. They won't tell you, so I will. The faces behind the narratives, the lawfare behind the narratives, the political faces behind the narratives, the law enforcement agencies behind the narratives. PIPP, or PIIP, political interference into policing, and how it's affecting you as a citizen. A lot of people wondering, what the heck am I talking about with the uh, engagement strategy, the stakeholders engagement strategy? This. I've shared this document many times. I don't get any questions back. Something as important as this document, and not one question back. No investigative reporters, no alternative media disagreeing that they are in it. No mainstream media disagreeing that they are in it. There was mainstream media article written about it. And we see a current MP that agreed that he was in the group that it was created for. Now, this document is 88 pages. So I want to go through the document because it's the only way you're going to understand what's going on in our political atmosphere. Why we have conservatives and liberals and mainstream media, influencers, alternative media, Canadian Armed Forces. Those are the ones I can prove that are in the room. I would guess that there was even RCMP. And know that this is happening because all this information was given to the RCMP while court cases were going on at the time. So let's look at this document for a minute. Let's, first of all, I'm going to show you, this is 88 pages. Very specific, very pointed, took a long time. This is not created by me. This is created by these people. So here we have the document control for this document. I hope you can see this. Let me just test something. I'm not good at this, so yeah, you should be able to read that. Okay. So this document was created October 16th, 2022, or that's when it was shared. It was created before that, obviously. It was created by the document owner, Bathsheba Vandenberg. master version document is on her laptop. It was issued as a draft following feedback from Keith Wilson and Eva Chipiuk. At the time, were JCCF lawyers. You can see that even Eva edits this document on October 16th, 2022. This is version 8 of this document. It was supposed to be limited to only Eva Chipiuk, Keith Wilson, Stu, and I do not remember his last name, Beth Ann Nodwell and Jerome O'Sullivan, Chris Barber, Tamara Leach, Tom Marazzo, and Danny Beaufort. But while they were having the Zoom meeting for this document, which, let me just show you something. So while they were having the Zoom meeting for this document, and there is me in the Zoom meeting, they didn't want to share the document. They just wanted to discuss it. But people in the meeting asked, can you share it? So it was shared, and that's how I received the document, directly from Eva. Okay? This document comes from a group called Canada Freedom Rights Movement. They are inquiry inquisitors, narrative destroyers, human rights defenders, mission focus, and they are clandestine. That's why you never heard about it. But it's certainly affecting you. Okay? They advertised in this illegal communication room that Bathsheba would be holding that Zoom that I just showed you. And make sure to remember the first rule of Fight Club. See that right here? Fight Club. The same rules apply here. When I entered this room, I was told it was to help everybody to work together. Please come, because I had a lot of people watching what I was doing. Over 500,000 a day on several different platforms. But I'm not like the rest of these influencers. I'm just a guy. I'm not a professional at this or anything like this. I am more professional in documentation and other things. So,
What happened to you, Pinky?
What's the first rule of Fight Club?
What?
now we get back to this document. And actually, before we get to the document, let's just take a look at a little video. Okay? This video right here. And this video is of a Signal app room that I was invited to.
This is where the
I
stakeholder
hope this sound
engagement
works on here.
strategy
Let's listen to
originates
this
from.
video.
This group. I was invited into this group in early October of 2022. In this group, you will see the members. Eva Chipiuk at the time was a lawyer for JCCF, facilitating this communications room against clients' court-ordered conditions. Bethan Nodwell was one tasked to seek out influencers and media and invite them to this group. We see now that there's even MPs in our House of Commons in this group. You will see military personnel in this group. You'll see mainstream media in this group. You'll see a lot of alternative media in this group. You will see a group of people that have all worked together to create and destroy narratives. And if you speak against them, destroy you. Okay? In this group, they share files and media. Lots and lots of media. And the files that they share, you can see by whom, when, where, the dates, how long it went on, etc., etc. The stakeholder engagement strategy, version 8, is at the bottom. This is what we're going to review today. We also have audio sent by Tamara herself while she was in court. And a whole bunch of other stuff. It's just all so organized. And we're going to get into that.
Okay. So I hope you heard that, because they were ready. Were you? Let's get back to the document. What we're going to do is we're going to go page by page on this document. We're going to discuss what's on the pages. Purpose, scope, and objectives. To provide a baseline of a consistent narrative for horizontal human-sourced information. H-info, stakeholder engagement. Now, that very first line is extremely important, because who is H-info? Let's back up one. Let's back up a picture. You see this group? This is H-info. And I'm going to show it to you. To translate legalese of the Emergencies Act, this POEC, they came up with that. That's a hashtag they came up with, into layperson language, to defeat the mainstream media and far left narrative. Wait a second. Didn't we just see that they have the mainstream media and the left narrative, I guess that's the police and government, in their own group? And later on in this document, you're going to see where they have them in their plan. Understand the extent to which each stakeholder group is likely to be impacted. Strategy for engagement of stakeholder groups in the 2022 Freedom Rights Movement. And the communications plan. So they are telling you, or all of your influencers, what they should be doing. And since you haven't heard any influencers talking against this, then why wouldn't they? Because this is really damning, this whole document. Now, the very next page, they explain what and who H-info is. So Bathsheba, she is an advisor, and this is where this document comes from. So who is she advising? Eva Chipiak is the lead. Is she advising Eva? Bethann, Jerome, Tom, Danny, Freedom Board, Keith Wilson, Stu. Freedom Board is 8 different directors, which I'll show you. I have requested from Corporations Canada all the documents from this corporation, and I was granted those documents. The circles of influence, the alternative media networks, social media platforms, and H-info. This is how they view you, okay? This is how they view you. So this is them in the yellow. And everybody else that's involved, even external, that's involved with the stakeholder map. Executive, government, mainstream media, medical experts, commercial interest groups, external influence, whatever that means. Freedom convoy truckers, protesters, veterans, people of color. Why is that even in there? Encircled of color. NGOs circled in red. Just so much boggles the mind of what they're thinking here. But this may explain it. The next page. Oh, why is that a little too big? External stakeholder groups, government, foreign influence groups, and foreign governments. Big pharma, commercial groups, political elite, billionaires, some civil servants, Canadians, political parties, anti-vaxxers, anti-protesters, pro-hate groups, anti-hate network, mainstream media, medical experts, and judges. These are stakeholders in their mind. Internal stakeholder groups. So this is people they actually work with. Families, fathers, mothers, young, some civil servants, alternative media groups, Freedom Convoy, truckers, ordinary Canadians, working class, minorities group, politicians. That's in their internal stakeholder group. Lawyers, doctors and nurses, medical personnel, veterans, active military personnel, police, NGOs, Quebecers, Indigenous, and Métis. Those last 3 boggle my mind. Why are you singling out certain people? It's weird. Prioritization, not completed for understanding only. Address concerns, Jeremy McKenzie. It's funny because Jeremy's sidekick is in this group. You don't hear him talking against this. right? Government opposition, active full-time involvement, government opposition, Freedom Convoy Group lawyers, EAJR lawyers, alternative media, Trudeau cabinet. What? Keep informed, general population, address concerns. They think that you're a concern, general population. I can't make this shit up. Partial involvement, James Scarf, press, media, medical experts of the stakeholder group or on the success of the program. So, this is also a program. Communication needs for 2022 Freedom Rights Movement stakeholders. So here they start to break it down, their commitment and who's in what quadrant, and they're just putting you in line to go to a stall. Address concerns, targeted briefings and tweets. They wanted people to say certain things. And I could see it. They were all, it was like when we seen the mainstream media all parroting each other. We see that with the alternative media. If you're looking, if you're emotionally invested, maybe you're not going to see it. Maybe you're not going to see the separatists that inserted themselves, that were paid by globalists in the first place. Communication channels explained. The channels where information regarding the 2022 Canadian Freedom Rights Movement is most frequently streamed. The good, the bad, and the ugly. YouTube. So they start to list people off here. Now, the people on here, some of them have major accounts like Rupa. I think a couple 100,000. Viva, Canadians built him and he ran away to the US to become a mouthpiece and to get international interference into Canadian issues. And he's in this engagement strategy. Rebel, Jordan Peterson, Russell Brand, Fox, Tucker Carlson, Unheard, JP Morgan. JP Morgan? Ooh, live from the shed. Interesting, because they didn't want to have anything to do with you. Emergencies Act Inquiry, Stu, Canadians for Truth, the Post-Millennial, Joe Rogan, Bridge City News, Breaking Point, Clyde Do Something. Those seem like very specific, don't you think? Out of how many in the world? Facebook. They have one person, Jane Scarf at the time. Strange, because they were all fighting, weren't they? Rumble, Viva Fry, that's all they have listed. Now, they got a ton of the same names, all have Rumble channels. Every one of them. Twitter, because, as Tamara tells you, that's where it all happens. Right? Ooh. You know, I was even in their room, and they didn't list me. Because they knew I wasn't going to go along with it. Then they started creating a narrative, and I can show you where Beth Ann starts it in the group. Tells everybody to hate on me. It wasn't even me that shared it. It was Barbara that shared that. I'll show you that later. This is very interesting because this list Also, it lists the court cat, which has been hugely opposed to anything Freedom Convoy. David Amber, I'll tell you, he was on stage giving out his card saying, I'll represent you for free as long as you stick to the charter. It wasn't true. My first phone call to him, he wanted $4,500. Said, no, thank you, and I hung up the phone. Substack. I don't even know who those people are, but there's a whole bunch of them. They almost all have Substacks now. Instagram. Here you go. So they've got everything covered here. And it's funny, they list Jeremy Mackenzie as a concern, but they have him as a communication channel on TikTok. You know, the foreign spy app, and also a political tool to sway public opinion in many countries. That's why it's banned in some. It was a bit early on for them here, so they were looking to build. Bloggers, Susan Stanfield, Anti-Hate Network, and Rex Murphy, all in their agreement. None of these people have disagreed with any of this publicly. The MP, Andrew Lawton, in the House of Commons, admitted to being in this group, but only to promote his book. I don't see nothing about his book being promoted. International news. Now, this is interesting because the New York Times used my picture. I wrote a blog about this, how the New York Times lied. They used my picture, but the story did not match the picture. The story was all fabricated lies. I spent 2 weeks talking to their reporter, and not one word that I ever said was reported. They didn't even want to write my name. The Epoch Times created purposely bad news stories with me by listening to a criminal, Jason LaFosse. Communications approach proposed messaging for stakeholder groups. The messages will be consistent for all stakeholder groups. This isn't asking. The messages will be consistent for all stakeholder groups. There will be a baseline set of vocabulary to employ interperspective of content within the lexicon. We're going to learn about lexicons. The frequency of messaging will be organic. Cannot control viral nature of H-info on social media platforms. So they can't control what H-info is doing on social media platforms, but they want to control and silence other people. They target and silence many Canadians. Canadians that actually worked with them and helped them, but didn't fall for their nonsense. They've all been attacked on social media and people told not to listen to, well, I'll just use myself as an example, but there's many. Preferred pendants, daily dialogue, hashtags, take up space with messaging. Take up space with messaging. Twice weekly interviews and blogs. That means with each other, not with any external sources that may have a difference of opinion. or, dialogue over division. That's a show, by the way, that Eva Chipiuk came up with, but doesn't ever have any guests on other than the preferred guests. Stakeholder defined. The 2022 Freedom Rights Movement is the umbrella term that includes anyone and everyone that disagreed with the government approach to and measures in managing the control spread of COVID-19, the overreach, going too far, oppressive, suppressive. Our narrative, inclusive and spectrum approach. Now, before I go on, I want you to realize that these people are playing all sides. Okay? You'll see it. And they use things like noble causes to reel you in, to make you believe this, when they're actually doing that. Keep that in mind. Our narrative, inclusive and spectrum approach, government measures, actions, examples, lockdown, mask mandates, COVID-19, definition of fully vaccinated, boosters, isolation, travel restrictions, employment conditions, loss of livelihood. All of these things have to do with the 2 federal mandates. And those 2 federal mandates are what I have been questioning officially through channels, through, I don't have it loaded here because wasn't going to talk about that ATIP, but there's a whole section on my website all about doing it through official channels and catching the DOJ lying and breaking the law to not provide the proof that the mandates were deemed legal. These are lawyers, and they're not doing that. They're just creating narratives. The audience. The audience is anyone on the spectrum of positioning vis-a-vis the government COVID-19 measures. There's no left or right, only a spectrum that can include mixed positions. The biggest audience are those who believe that enough is enough. The only them and us is those who supported EA invocation versus those who did not. I'm sorry, but this makes me furious. Because I'll tell you what, my messages since I went to Ottawa have always been to reach new people, to reach the people that have been deceived enough to follow all of these measures and stuff without question. Not the people that already know this. That's just trying to build something instead of reaching new people. Here's where we learn about lexicons. The freedoms rights movements. These are all lexicons that they have somehow figured out. And what do lexicons do? I don't even know what they're trying to explain here. It's funny, they say all these things, but I don't see the paperwork to back up any of these things. We see on the Freedom Corporation website that they are going to hold accountability in 2022 and everything that happened. They haven't done anything. They haven't even done a complaint to the Law Enforcement Complaints Agency. They haven't done nothing. Defamatory statements. Heck, Bully Barber does that on a daily basis. Yes. But the thing is that these people also worked with the RCMP, with the PLT, the corrupt PLT team. Let me might add. I have personal experience with them. I know they're corrupt. I have it in a complaint too, in a criminal complaint. Yeah. Yeah. Finally got a number to that because it took years of going through all their other hoops to get to that. But this is not the way to deal with it. This is trying to get Canadians to think that the house is in disrepute when all we need is to clean it. Get a broom and start cleaning. Government violence, use of force against innocent civilians. Cruel punishment. Actually, some of this is true. And this is what I said, is they will use noble things, truthful things, you know, but they're using it to create a narrative. The messaging approach always refer to 2022 freedom rights movement or freedom rights movement as the overall. Always. So when talking about the truckers or convoy, be sure to include that they are groups or elements of the overall 2022 freedom rights movement. I didn't have anything to do with them. I got sucked in, but I laughed. And you would say, well, aren't you guilty for being in this illegal room? Well, no. If the only way I would be an accessory is if I did not report the crime. But I did. I did. Right in front of Tamara and Barbara.
Tamara, how do you feel about making demands on a country and stealing the citizen's voice? Stealing the citizen's voice. Yeah, that's the way they always answer. They don't.
And this is where the Ottawa police and the RCMP and the Crown Attorney hid this information from the courts. Yeah, they did. Because I have proof that I gave it to them. They're telling you how to speak, how to be a conglomerate. This is really hard for me, because this is not what I want to do. You know what I want to do? I want to talk about things like this. Okay? There was no way the officers did not know or ought to know the orders they were given and actions taken were unconstitutional. These are actual file numbers that I do. They can't show you any file numbers. The secrecy will erode trust. That Ryan Alford, which wrote this, the very last paragraph is what's important. I'm going to read that last paragraph because I doubt that you read it. When it comes to the judgment of whether the Trudeau government abused its emergency powers, justice must not only be done, it must also be seen to be done. Findings in favor of the government on the basis of secret evidence that might never be seen will never be trusted. The preservation of the rule of law requires to use the Public Order Emergency Commission's words, a transparent and thorough review of the circumstances that led to the declaration of the public emergency order, which it was not. It was not. There's lots of documents that the public does not know about. I want to talk about the charges and how they manipulated courts. How I have done all the different paperwork asking for camera footage, asking for documentation, and the RCMP outright lying on access to information requests. You can read all about it in the blog, okay? That's what I want to talk about. Why does my completed investigation not show up for the public to see? Here it is. Here's where they tell you that I wasn't arrested, even though the courts were told I was arrested by Ottawa police. I was not. Those people in the green outfits in the army looking type tactical truck that pulled up on us was RCMP. They're manipulating documents. So we're going to go back to the other document. I want to show you, I show my documentation. Their messaging approach is to get people angry, to get people divided, to create division. That's what this group does. No name calling? Chris Barber, you should follow your own agreement. Avoid the fear, spreading fear. You know, I think your globalists actually got upset with you because you wouldn't follow your own agreements, your own documentation. I think things have changed now. You're kind of going to be on your own soon, aren't you? Canadian identity equals Canadian values. They are really trying to mold what the media and influencers are doing. Also, what the foreign interference and influence is doing. I can see it on their pages. Look at Liz Churchill. She has 350 some thousand. And here she is sharing Daisy Media. The guy got his accreditation from a Cracker Jack box. You can order it online and print it out yourself. Not accredited by anything. Find common ground. These people never wanted to find. I tried to speak to them very straightforward, like an adult, civilly, and this is not, they came and attacked me. Nothing that they write in here is what they follow. H-info. Okay? And they made sure when they seen that they couldn't attack me online and I fought back, I protected myself, I stood up for myself, they called it bad. They tried to twist it and say that I'm attacking them. No. You've got it all wrong, people. Yes, the government did all these types of things, but so are they. So they're just as bad. They're not straightforward. They're deceptive. And I'm calling them out. Have me on your show and explain this to the rest of the world. Explain it. I think that's what you need to do, not me. We're only halfway through the document. Okay? There's a lot more that's just mind boggling on what they want you to follow. They're borrowing messages from conservatives and liberals, and they have Dagny Pollock in there doing the official release of the demands to our country from Tamara Leach. If you can't see it by now, I don't know what else anybody can do for you. We have people that have I'm going to just show you something here.
Of the people and is non-political, certain suspicious individuals have stepped into leadership roles. B.J. Dichter, a politician and co-founder of LGBT Tory, and Tamara Leach of Wexit, who is funded by a sitting member of the globalists' Atlantic Council, are the ones who set up and manage the GoFundMe page for the Freedom Convoy. And former Liberal staffer for the Minister of Public Safety, Dagny Pollock, has recently been made part of the communications team. And people involved claim it's all a deceptive story.
Most people don't seem to know where these people came from, how they got involved, how they ended up controlling all the money, why they're doing all of the speaking. These are political. These people aren't even truckers. Okay, B.J. Dichter's not a trucker. This Dagny that was Marco Mendocino's campaign manager, who's a sitting liberal politician right now, who called everyone terrorists the other day. And conveniently, these people seem to be holding a lot of keys somehow. If they have this media story, which is what it is, it's a story. The truckers have not agreed to this. Nobody's going anywhere. Nobody wants to go anywhere. They've agreed to move or leave or something. The media will run with that, and then the government will use that. It's like, oh, well, look, see, they said they would, do one thing, and then they didn't, and they're, negotiating in bad faith and this kind of stuff. It's a setup.
So we have people that made oaths to create a new nation on this land, in our nation, in 2020. Then all of a sudden, this person is in charge of the money and now the focus, the court proceedings, everything. And nobody is scrutinizing. Nobody is calling for official investigations, because the backgrounds of these people have a lot to do with what they're doing now. Mayor Leach is now sewing a flag, pretending like she's healing Canada. Are you freaking kidding me? This corporation stole the citizens' voice, stole the control of the support, manipulation of the media, as we can see, and the list goes on. I never said a bad word about them until Barber came out and attacked me. I never said a word about him. I questioned Tamara Leach right off the bat, even while I was in Ottawa. Yes, for sure I did. These are people at the center of it. Why wouldn't anybody try to focus on what the totality of what we were seeing is? Who are the directors on the Freedom Corp? How much have they claimed in donation as directors since 2022? I can tell you the answer is zero. Their corporation claims zero. Under $10,000 to be specific, because they applied and were granted to be a non-soliciting corporation. And there's only two types of corporations in Canada: soliciting and non-soliciting. When I started questioning them, because they had open air Q&As, they didn't like it. Holy crap, they didn't like it. That's when they started attacking, and that's when I fought back. So if you have any tears, you can call 1-800-BIG-TEARS, because that's how much I care for their deceptions on Canada. Okay? A lot of people are going to need their hands held after this. Let's get back to the document. How it works and the timelines. So they're talking about the Emergencies Act inquiry, but this document, does this look like it's just about the Emergencies Act inquiry? Or is this much, much bigger? And for somebody, for these people to say that they're on a mission and stuff, when Eva Chipiuk had the chance to question our prime minister, she failed miserably. She did nothing. She didn't ask the questions. And we didn't get any answers. I wish I should have had that video queued up of her questioning our prime minister, because it's absolutely
minister, which I think we all thought was going to be like must-see pay-per-view television, turned into a bit of a wah-wah, because it was just, I'm going to read into the record a bunch of people's views, right, and put a couple assertions to you, and that's that. You didn't really get anything from them asking ministers or the prime minister some of the core issues they came to this city with, you know, a year ago almost.
Not to say a chance of a lifetime, but you were sitting there able to question a prime minister on a decision that he made against everything that you believe in terms of that kind of freedom, yet they didn't ask those questions.
It's absolutely ludicrous. Such a big, big deal. And this whole Emergencies Act inquiry, first it was done totally improper. It was done late. It didn't follow the set parameters. It wasn't televised easily to my parents, the elderly, on CPAC. Very short segments were. It was all online. And our elderly are not online watching it on the Emergencies Act Commission website. Exactly. The Section 2 of the C6 Act. Well, I'm telling you, these people are engaged in treason. And it's I told you, it's not just regular people. Everyone from the MP in our House of Commons to the RCMP that's working with them, and everything in between. What we should have here is Commissioner Rouleau's closing comments. I should actually look for that real quickly here. Let me look for that real quickly, because it's really quite important. Here it is. So this Prime Minister Justin Trudeau named Justice Paul S. Rouleau to lead the Public Order Emergency Commission, which will examine the circumstances that led to the declaration being issued and the measures taken in response to the emergency. These were Justice Rouleau's final words of the public video recorded section. I sometimes think I am no more than a puppet, with a lot of puppeteers behind making the whole system work. I deserve no credit for what has happened here today. Justice Paul S. Rouleau, November 25th, 2022. Now, I was actually writing this down as he was saying it, and I highlighted it and put it into this picture. Now, we see a lot of strings in this picture, and they're not just on our prime minister or the judge, the justice. The lawyer has some too. And the three guys in the front shaking hands were all in on it. You didn't see any official opposition trying to say anything, even though they were listed to be able to speak at the Emergencies Act inquiry. Get back to the document. I want to wrap it up here soon because this just all infuriates me, to tell you the truth. We're on page 49. Q&A on POEC. Who is participating? This is very important. Granted standing. Government of Canada, Government of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, City of Ottawa, City of Windsor, Ottawa Police Service, Ontario Provincial Police, Canadian Association of Police Chiefs, or Chiefs of Police, National Police Federation, Peter Slowly, Freedom Rights Group, Tamara Lynch, Chris Barber, Daniel Beaufort, Tom Marazzo, Sean Teason, Miranda Gassier, Joseph Jansen, Dale Enns, Ryan Malkowitz, and Freedom 2022 Human Rights and Freedoms Not-for-Profit Corporation. Those are the directors of Freedom Corp, is what I call it. You see all these other businesses and stuff. Ryan Alford, the Democracy Fund, JCCF, Criminal Lawyers Association, and the Canadian Council of Criminal Defense Lawyers. Why did the Conservatives not either apply or get granted standing to question our Prime Minister properly? Do you know I was asked to be a witness? I have the emails to prove it. And when I told them that I had 40 hours of footage from the camera that was on my head that exposed some things, they said I'm sorry, we ran out of space. The very next day, told me that I could upload my evidence. I wasn't going to do that because it's going to be part of a bigger court case. I have over 40 hours from that camera that was on my head that nobody has seen. I think the total I've shown out of that video is 18 minutes. Your opportunity to tell the truth on harm, violence suffered as a result of the Emergencies Act being invoked. Well, I'll tell you, I was harmed, I was arrested, I was brought to trial, and it is a very important case. Not one media or anybody showed up because these people made sure that they didn't. No influencers, no help. Out of the tens of thousands of people that I hugged that said, "Oh, we're with you. Just follow the truth." None of them showed up. A couple actors did that turned their that said they were there for me, but then stabbed me in the back. This group downtown there, the Wellington Street regulars. Freaking crazies. And they're all part of it. You can see they're all attached into the other group. They all hang on every word of Lynch and Barber. So let's get to the important. They go through a whole bunch of BS here. How to share your story. They wanted me to send them all my footage. Eva Chipiuk called me in October when nobody had my phone number. Somehow she got it and called me and said, I'm Tamara Leach's lawyer and I want to know if you could help. And I said, with what? And she says, I hear you have a whole bunch of footage that could help Tamara. And I said, this footage could help everybody. And she said, well, hold on a second. Put me on hold for like 3 minutes. Didn't say anything. Just cut the phone off. And I'm sitting there going, hello, hello, hello. Finally, she came back and said, well, are you going to help? And I said, well, I don't think I'm going to release that at this time. No. And click, hung up the phone. I immediately called my lawyer and told her about it because I believe she got my phone number from my retainer agreement, which she shouldn't have had. I sent stories to people on my own media, on my own social media. If you didn't want to believe it or read it, that's up to you. You've been brainwashed. Um, the one thing that I took away from this page was that I know that some of the documents that Eva Chipiuk had before the public were shared in the room too. Now, I'm positive that goes against her confidentiality agreement with the public order emergency inquiry. Um, Now, they're saying that the only way that we could go against the findings is to do a judicial review. You didn't see anybody file for that, I don't think, right? There might be a couple. So these are their daily rituals. Now it's starting to sound like a cult, okay? Using those words. Post live links to POEC on your feeds, your platforms, name the witnesses. Consider your stakeholder engagement and priorities. Interview, targeted messaging, online meeting, face off to quell opponents. To quell opponents. That's what they did to me. And I wasn't an opponent. I was just somebody asking questions. You know? It's crazy. Their narrative, illegal protest, insufficient. They're trying to say this is what their narrative was. Our narrative. Demanding good governance. That's not. They're really stretching it here. They certainly have a whole lot of narratives that they want you to follow. They want you to post. They want you to share their stuff. But they do not want you to listen to anybody outside of their stakeholder engagement strategy. If you do go outside of the strategy, you will be blocked. You will be defamed. You will be targeted. As an example, they have done all of this.
Take your mind. Don't let them take your mind, man. Don't let them tell you that you are not divine. Don't let them do it, man. No. Take control of your soul. Take back control. Yeah. Find the truth. Find it all. Find it all, man. Yeah. Don't believe their lies. Don't believe it, man. Let them take your mind. Don't let them take your mind, man.
And like I said, they use noble causes. I do agree with some of the things that the government did was totally incorrect. And I'm trying to fight it properly. Not through the courts, but through our every government program has accountability measures, even the police. It's called the Policing Act, or the Policing Act for Special Constables, or the RCMP Act. I was excluded from the red zone. Imagine that, a red zone in Canada. It was a total infringement of my rights. Signed under duress. The freezing of bank accounts. This was all, you know, the people that were in charge of the bank accounts, because it was never supposed to be one. Remember? Right from the beginning, from Canada Unity's beginning of this, it was never supposed to be one person in charge of anything. It was a group. It was as we go, just everybody was supposed to remain legal and peaceful. That was basically it. Nobody was supposed to talk for you. You were supposed to talk as a citizen, holding grievance to your government face to face. But once this group got to Ottawa, there is a video where the backers of these people admit that they picked who was going to be the voice for Canada. They picked who was going to get the money to back them. They picked what was going on. They paid for the boardrooms that Freedom Corporation spoke from and kept anybody else out. You've seen them block Bowder and King out of those rooms.
It was the most patriotic moment of my lifetime. It went on for like almost 4 weeks. So what happened when we got to Ottawa, I've been in leadership positions since I'm 82 years old, and I'm now 68, so 50 years of leadership. My organizational skills, and I'm president and general manager had been of a number of manufacturing companies, so my organizational skills kicked in. I began to meet immediately with the trucker leaders to see which ones were capable of working together in that group. All had played really important roles, but not all were capable of working around the boardroom to make decisions. So Ryan played a critical role. I knew I had to get Ryan to Ottawa. He's general manager of the company, but I thought this is urgent. I called Ryan and I said, Ryan, you've got to get out here because I knew Ryan had exceptional leadership skills. So Ryan and I worked as a team to meet with the truckers, to understand them and their capabilities. We pulled them together. Ryan rented 3 boardrooms and 60 hotel rooms, and we pulled all the truckers and got them working together. And then we hired super capable people like Drew.
Human Rights Organizations Canada. The anti-hate network has I'm sorry, but they've spread so much hate. I can't think that they are a human rights organization. I know for a fact JCCF is corrupt. They broke a contract with me. I don't have the money to sue them. You won't hear them suing me for defamation because they know it's true and they'll get caught. I put in complaints to the law societies on them already. International. So this is part of their international broad perspective. These are the people that are helping them share their messages. And it's funny, they didn't fill this in. We got Canadian, Europe, United Kingdom, and other international. Now we see that Tamara Lynch was able to go around the world unabated, saying that she spoke for Canadians, building a portfolio to show later on when she wants to become political her young global leader aspirations. They're building her. They use pictures from around the world at the end of this document. And some of them are fabricated. David. Poor guy, he wasn't part of them. They tried to use me, okay? This is the only place you see me in the document, is in this picture. They knew I wasn't going to fall for it. They tried to use me on their Substacks and stuff and use pictures there too. I didn't fall for it. They weren't there when this stuff was happening. No, because they were already arrested, where Tamara begged to be arrested. It's absolutely ridiculous. That's the end of this document. I'd like to know what you think, because I'll tell you, there's some shenanigans going on here, and you really need to know about it. Because with this ostrich thing, it's all the same people, the same media, creating international interference into Canadian issues by getting Canadians to think that our food and inspection agency and other government agencies are not accountable. Yes, they are following some things I don't like the WEF and stuff. We work on that once we get to the root causes by calling for real investigations. If I can find this out, why are the police not? Because I'll tell you, this is treason in the highest forms. All of this is in a police report, by the way. I don't fool around. You want to call me out? Go ahead. I'm definitely not a cop. I'm fighting them as well. But I really just want to get back to my life. And I keep seeing these things over and over. The Million March, the Winnipeg Party in a Field, the BS stuff that keeps going on and on and on. Well, we're not focusing on holding the accountability in the first place. This is exactly what they want. And Freedom Corporation's at the head of it.
All across Canada, from the east coast to the west, throughout this great land, we're all just doing our best to shine a bright light where corruption takes place, to give freedom its right and give peace a face. It started off slow, then it quickly picked up pace. The people knew it was time to go, and they began to hold space. One man with a beard, he stood with the flag. Not once did he fear, not once did he beg. Doing it to protect our citizens' rights, standing tall and proud in all of his glory. With love and peace, he battles this fight. This is the peace man's story. Speaking for others who feel small, in each of their differences he found common ground. Trying his best so no one will fall, making his voice heard, his power is loud. What's close to his heart is freedom for all, justice to start, there is no more time to stall. But there is a man who's done all he can to stand up and protect this great land. He is a man who truly understands that citizens are the key. This is the peace man story. Doing it to protect our citizens' rights, standing tall and proud in all of his glory. With love and peace, he battles this fight. This is the peace man story. Standing for purpose and standing for the fight against the corruption, he's never lost sight. What truly matters, he's making it right in cold blistering winds through the depths of the night. But there is a man who's done all he can to stand up and protect this great land. He is a man who truly understands that citizens are the key. This is the peace man story. To protect our citizens' rights, standing tall and proud in all of his glory. With love and peace, he battles this fight. This is the peace man story. Taken from us the powers of most humans and placed into the hands of the few, these are acts of treason. No matter what side you are on or what you believe in, he stood in peace with our flag for this reason. He understands and teaches that everything is connected while battling the heads of Hydra, the beast. Step one is to teach yourself awareness and reflect it, guiding and preparing all of humanity. But there is a man who's done all he can to stand up and protect this great land. He is a man who truly understands that citizens are the key. This is the peace man's proud to protect our citizens' rights, standing tall and proud in all of his glory. With love and peace, he battles this fight. This is the understanding that the citizens are the key, meeting people from every corner of the earth, unlocking, illuminating knowledge and the secrets they keep to save our children, humanity, and worth. Oh, Canada, do you see what he sees? Oh, Canada, we are the land of the free. Oh, Canada, all we want is our peace. Oh, Canada, this is the Peaceman story. A peaceman's journey.